Hi, my name is Bill Monroe of Project Portfolio Excellence Incorporated. In this video, we're going to talk about the software development and project management lifecycle, process audit, and analysis. I believe that this is a good opportunity for you and me to collaborate to help companies in your area get better results with their enterprise software and software-related projects by having a better understanding of the strengths and the weaknesses of their current software development and project management lifecycle processes. If, after listening to the material, you feel like you know some companies that could benefit from this audit and analysis, all I'm asking is that you pick up the phone and make a few calls, make some introductions. If your introduction turns into an engagement, then you'll receive a substantial fee from me for helping me to establish the relationship. So how can you tell if a company could benefit from this type of process analysis and audit? Well, one of the first questions I ask whenever I talk to a new company is, are you satisfied with the value and results you're getting from your enterprise software and software-related projects? Now, if the answer is no, and it almost always is, that's an indication that this company could benefit from a process audit and analysis. If the company is not satisfied with the results they're getting with their software and projects, it's almost certainly because the processes they're using for software development and project management are either inadequate or they're not being followed. Whichever the case may be, the process audit and analysis can pinpoint exactly where their process is not getting the job done for them. When I talk about the process audit and analysis, I like to start by talking about effective software testing. Now, this is toward the end of the life cycle, but when we start at this point, it allows us to go back up through prior process steps and establish what has to happen in each of those steps so that eventually effective software testing can take place. Now, as you look at this illustration and you follow the backward path we're talking about, the first thing you see is that deliverables have to implement technical requirements and that unit, system, integration, and regression testing validate the technical requirements. Next, you see that the technical requirements have to accomplish the specifications and the specifications have to communicate the business requirements. And finally, you see that business requirements have to comprehend and fulfill the sponsor's vision and that UAT testing, or user acceptance testing, validates the business requirements. Each step in this process is critical for project success, and each step also represents a point at which the process can fall apart. So when we do the process audit and analysis, we make sure that at each stage of the process there's a proper handoff, there's proper collaboration, and that there's a common understanding of the goals that we need to achieve. Now, after we've spent all this time talking about how we can enable effective software testing, I want to make a few observations as to what effective software testing is and what it is not. First of all, software testing is your last line of defense. If poor quality gets past the testing phase and into production, then it becomes rework or ongoing maintenance, and in both cases, the resources that are devoted to those are stolen from future project work. Secondly, software testing is not a proactive approach. Software testing is the same as in a manufacturing line inspecting at the end of the line. In the world of manufacturing, they learned many years ago that that is not an effective way to ensure quality, because by the time you do the inspection, all of the poor quality has already been built into the product. The same is true with software testing. Number 3, you can't test quality into a product. You have to build quality into the product by using effective processes. And number 4, effective testing is not the key to quality. It's how we measure the lack thereof. In order to achieve good quality, you have to have sound processes in your software development and in your project management, and you have to follow those processes effectively. Now, there's another very important point that we bring up when we're talking about the process audit and analysis, and that's illustrated in the graphic that you see here. We've taken what is admittedly a very simplified picture of the project lifecycle, and we've shaded the business-related activities in red and the IT-related activities in green. And you can see that at least half of the activities that have to happen for a successful project are the responsibility of business. and more importantly, the critical activities of project definition, of requirements gathering, of specification creation. Those all happen early on in the process and determine what IT is going to do, and all of those things have to be done by business. So when we're doing the process audit and analysis, one of the first things we talk about is whether or not business professionals have enough time to devote to these critical upfront activities in the project lifecycle. If not, then there's a good chance that the technology professionals are not going to know what to program, or the instructions they'll be given will be inaccurate or incomplete. So now I want to briefly talk about the steps that are involved in the SD and PM lifecycle process audit and analysis. The first step is that we analyze the current methodologies that are being used. Now, it may be that there are no formal methodologies, and that's fine. There still are going to be some kind of informal methodologies being used. We want to capture those. We want to map those out so we can determine whether or not they're being effective. After we map and analyze current methodologies, we can expose or elevate process weaknesses and flaws that are contributing to the inferior results that are currently being experienced. The third step is we're going to create a plan to address weaknesses, to develop a more robust and mature methodology, to increase the value from software and project investments, or maybe we're just going to accept the current situation as a future constraint. I mean, let's face it, if we understand that our process is a liability, at least we can use that knowledge to keep from taking on projects that we know are going to fail. And the fourth step, if it's needed or desired, is that we can set up follow-up sessions to monitor and ensure that we're continuing to make progress. The Process Audit and Analysis product has been built out of Project Portfolio Excellence, which is a new model for the evaluation, selection, prioritization, and management of enterprise software and software-related projects. Project Portfolio Excellence contains a set of truths about software development and project and portfolio management. And the number one truth of Project Portfolio Excellence is that the causes of project failure are easy to diagnose and simple to understand. We use the process audit and analysis to determine where our processes are flawed or inadequate so that we can fix those problems and get better results in the future. The next truth we want to look at is number 93. Project failure is a process problem, not a people problem. Now, this is important because a lot of times when we're trying to evaluate what went wrong with a project, we have a tendency to point fingers at people instead of looking at what was wrong with the process that caused us to fail. The process audit and analysis is always concerned with what is deficient in the process, not with what's wrong with the people. And the last truth we want to highlight here is number 9, which states every hour spent fixing problems caused by bad data and systems is an hour that can't be applied to new initiatives. This gets back to what I was talking about earlier, that all of the resources that have to be applied to fixing post-production quality and rework issues are stolen from future value-adding project work. The extent to which we're able to improve the quality of the work we put into production is also the extent to which we can free up more resources for future project work. I hope this presentation has gotten you to think about some companies you know of that could benefit from a lifecycle process audit and analysis. If you have any questions about the material, send them to me via email or telephone. I know that there are many companies out there that are struggling to get the value that they expect from their enterprise software and software-related projects. I also know why this is happening and that it will keep on happening unless they take appropriate steps to correct their process flaws and weaknesses. You know companies in your area, whether they're your current clients or acquaintances, that could benefit from a process audit and analysis. I think that there's an opportunity for you and I to work together to help a lot of companies get better results with their software and projects. I hope that you'll give me a call to talk about it. Thank you for listening.